Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday's Talking Cafe. I'm Mickey Scott, one of the village agents in the Taunton Deane area. Today I've been kindly joined by Jill Harrison and Jenny Hannis from Spark Somerset. We're going to be talking about volunteering in Somerset and the opportunities that are available to everybody. Just a reminder on our new time, starting from today, it's a 1 o'clock start that we're going to do now, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. As we gently ease out of lockdown, we're going to hopefully do some more face-to-face and live Facebook cafes, talking cafes, so we can get out into the public again. So new time, 1 o'clock. Don't worry if you miss it though, it is recorded. You can watch it again on Facebook and also on the YouTube channel. So good morning, ladies. Jill, I think you're going first. Welcome to Talking Cafe. Do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and what you do and what Spark Somerset can offer people?
Hello, everyone. Yes, thank you, Mickey. I'd love to. Well, we thought rather than inflict our faces on you for the entire 40 minutes, we'd do a little PowerPoint presentation as well. So I'm going to start with that to talk us through. And hopefully everybody can see that now. So I'm Jill Harrison. I'm the community development worker for Taunton, and my role is to facilitate and support volunteering and voluntary organisations. So Spark Somerset is part of a national network, and its brief is to support agencies in the voluntary and community sector in various aspects of their work. Jenny is going to give you a very broad overview of what Spark does, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the volunteer. So Jenny, over to you.
Thanks, Jill. So my name's Jenny Hannis. I'm the voluntary sector advisor for the Somerset West and Taunton area. So I cover the sort of local authority geographical patch. Just to give you a little bit of a background of kind of who Spark are and what we do. So our kind of main roles are around providing free support and advice to voluntary sector groups and organisations across the county. And I'll talk a little bit more on the next slide about kind of what that actually involves. But we offer a wide range of help and advice to groups to help with their own sustainability and help to make them self-sustainable. We've also got a role around representing the sector on strategic bodies at district, county and regional level. So we really try to kind of champion the voluntary sector, be their voice, especially for some of those smaller local groups that may find it difficult to get a seat around the table. We also run a dedicated volunteer service called Spark a Change, which Jill is going to talk about a little bit later on. And finally, we host a variety of training and forums to support the sector. So again, we've got some slides on exactly what that means a little bit further on. Jill, if you can move on, that'd be fab, thank you. So support, and this is really, I suppose, where my role comes into it. So my job as the voluntary sector advisor is really to support those groups and organisations in both the Taunton and West Somerset area. And that's really with a huge range of different areas, different items, a real variety to kind of what people need support with. But the sort of main areas are around funding advice, so where groups maybe are looking for funding to either develop and expand what they're offering, or if they're looking for funding for community facilities, for building works, for various different things, pretty much anything, anything and everything goes. We can offer some support and funding advice with that. Help identify some potential sources of funding that they could look to and help support with those applications as well. Another one is around governance. So a large part of my role is around all of the sort of legalities of setting up new groups and new organisations, about getting constituted, about getting all the right kind of policies and procedures into place, picking the right organisational structure, and anything that really helps with all that sort of back office running of an organisation. Again, that's where I can come in and support. Volunteer management. So as I said, Jill's going to talk a little bit more about the volunteering programme and what we offer a bit later on, but again, around management of volunteers, helping to recruit new volunteers and helping to support those existing volunteers. And that's kind of particularly pertinent at the moment with the COVID pandemic and the sort of huge amount of volunteers that have come forward as a result of it, but also the sort of real fatigue amongst volunteers that have been, volunteering for a very long time in very difficult circumstances. So a role for us to play around there as well. And finally, around business planning. So again, this is looking at long-term sustainability, looking at helping those groups become self-sustainable, helping them with income streams, with their sort of plans for the future. And that's very much where my role fits, and that's where I kind of help the groups within the local area. Can you move on, please? Thank you. And also at the start, we talked about training. And again, as an organisation, so Spark covers the whole of the county of Somerset, although myself and Jill are specifically within the sort of Taunton and West Somerset patch. But we offer training courses that are for the whole of the county. And these are on a huge array of different topics that, again, that we try to pick that are asked for by voluntary groups and organisations, and other courses that we kind of become aware of and that we feel would be beneficial. So some of the sessions that we've run in the last sort of few months or so have been around organising and supporting volunteers. We run first aid courses. We run courses around marketing, safeguarding, about how to measure the impact of what it is that you are doing, which is particularly useful if you've had funding and you're looking to sort of demonstrate why you should be continually funded, or why you're looking for additional funding. Mental health first aid, looking after people's data. We do things around roles of trustees as well. And so we've got an extensive training programme which are either cheap or free to access, and like I say, are readily available across the whole of the county. So we're always looking to expand the programme, expand what we can offer. So if anyone has got particular training requirements that they're looking for, that they would like some support with, then please do get in contact with us and we can help point you in the right direction. Thanks, Jill. And then the last one from me, just around training again. So these are kind of some of the things that we've got coming up. And as I said, it's a bit of an ever-evolving programme. So we've got some Mythbuster training around the vaccination, and trying to support people to make an informed decision about whether they do or don't wish to have the vaccine. We've also got a Covey Community Champion programme. So again, these are people that are kind of helping support get messages out to groups and organisations and individuals who maybe are a little bit confused, a little bit unsure of exactly sort of what the situation is, and they need some sort of support and guidance in terms of, as I say, making some decisions. We've also got training around marketing and communication, which is obviously huge in terms of voluntary sector and voluntary sector groups. So around doing as much as you can in terms of the marketing and communication of the groups that you're running. Again, around consulting the community, and this is really important when people are looking for funding, to make sure that the funding that they're looking for really meets the need within that community, and about how you can actually go about getting that information from the community that you're looking to work with, and how you can make sure that you're having some sort of meaningful consultation. And then finally, as I've mentioned previously, around sustainability, and that's a really key one for us. We want to give groups and give organisations the support that they need to be able to manage by themselves, and to be able to look after themselves, and to ensure their kind of long-term sustainability. Thanks, Jill.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. So we also provide support with funding, and we give funding advice to groups. We don't really have huge funding pots ourselves, but we can signpost people towards groups that have funding. And each week we are sent opportunities, which we then publicise on our website, which you'll see in the stream at some point today. We do a lot of work on partnership and collaboration. So where we find a group that might be useful to another group, we introduce them to each other if they'd like to be introduced, and they are then able to work together, and that makes for a lovely strong network. And similarly, if you're interested as a volunteer in joining a group, we can partner you up so that you can use your skills and your life experiences to support groups. And we help people find funding opportunities, as I mentioned. So when things come through, we send them out to our contacts, and they are advertised through Spark. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit more now about volunteering, which is mainly what my role involves. So we have a digital platform called Spark a Change, and you can see the website address there, sparkachange.org.uk. And on that platform, all the local groups can advertise their needs. So it may be that a group would like a trustee or volunteers to help as drivers, befrienders, There are all sorts of roles, and you can go onto this platform if you would like to volunteer and see what opportunities there are in the area. They're grouped by location, so you can have a look at the opportunities that exist around your area. And it's probably worth mentioning at this point that volunteering can be anything from a one-off event. For example, we have a litter picking initiative going on in a neighbourhood near me in Taunton, and that will be one day, and various people will join that. Or it could be a couple of hours a month as a trustee or a befriender, or it might be something more regular, but all the opportunities will give you an indication of the time so that you can fit it around your own lifestyle. So, as I mentioned, the services that we have are that we advertise opportunities. And we also have a page for Taunton where if you're a volunteer, you can put your details up. And if you'd like to volunteer, but you haven't seen anything that particularly appeals to you or matches what you're looking for, you can put a little description of yourself up and put it on a page there. And we can look out for opportunities that match your particular interests. We give free advice and support to volunteering groups and voluntary groups, and that's a large part of what we do. So as Jenny mentioned earlier, it could be support around training, around funding, around governance, and it can be things like DBS as well. If you need a check because you're working with children or vulnerable adults, we have a DBS officer called Jo Scrimshire, who, whilst she can't issue DBS certificates, is a mine of really useful information and will help you work out exactly what sort of training DBS certification you might need there. We hold networking events, and I'll come on to those in more detail in a moment. And we've also been particularly interested in the last few months in helping volunteering beyond COVID. A lot of people, as Jenny mentioned, are quite weary now. There's been some long-term volunteering going on. So we're looking at finding ways to energise the community and keep volunteering going, because we've had an amazing response in West Somerset and Taunton, really amazing. There've been COVID befrienders, and there's been a positive through this pandemic that so many people have given so much of their time. And I think for me personally, it's been interesting to see the well-being effect that's been fed back to me. People have felt so good to give, and it really does make you feel good to volunteer. Take you on to the next slide. There is a forum called Taunton Connect. And it was set up last month. We had, I think there were about 32 people came along, and they represented groups. You're very welcome to come along as an interested volunteer to the next one, which is on the 17th of June. Or if you have a group that I'm not aware of yet, please do register for that. I'll be leaving you my details at the end of this session, and you can get in touch with me personally, and I can send you out an invitation to this forum. So the purpose of the forum is for everybody, first of all, to become aware of everybody else, because there's so much good work taking place, so much good work. And it's been lovely for everyone to have an opportunity to come together and celebrate that and talk about their experiences over the past 12 months and discuss the challenges that lie ahead, because although we've got lots of hope now, we're not quite out of the woods, and there are a lot of steps that have to be taken for people to fully reopen. So the forum is an opportunity there for people to discuss those challenges and support each other with the challenges, and also to plan next steps. It's called Connect for other reasons. As I mentioned earlier, there are lots of partnerships forming, and following that forum, I've had lots of emails of groups that have got together and supported each other. It's been great to have groups that haven't always been round the table be able to come on board. So we've got schools that are running civic championship awards who are partnering up with some of the refugee agencies to help there. So there are all sorts of interesting partnerships forming, and we're hoping that those will help sustain volunteering in the town and the wider community. Okay, so this is the page that you will arrive at if you Google Spark a Change. This is the opening page here. And I don't know if you can see my cursor here, but we've got several little boxes you can go on to. We've got I want to volunteer. So if you're an individual who'd like to, obviously that's where you'll click. There's another box here for organisations where you can advertise your opportunities. There's one for employers. There are specific projects that are going on. And if you click on that, you can have a look at those and see what's going on. Once you've clicked on the box, if you click on it as I want to volunteer, you then come to this page. So there's a search box. So I've actually jumped a step because you would put in the area that you would like to volunteer in. Obviously, I chose Taunton because that's where we're talking from today. And there are a couple of opportunities that I've seen here. So we've got the peer mentor role, and you'll see that it mentions exactly the time commitment. So there's no ambiguity around that. There was a poppy peel organizer, and you'll see there's a map there so that you can see where things are based. So I've picked out one opportunity, which is the local pantry at Rhobarton. That's a new initiative that started about 4 weeks ago. And if you are interested in supporting it, they will be absolutely delighted to see you. The commitment for the pantry is once a month, and it's either a morning or an afternoon session. Not sure if you can do both. The manager will let you know about that. It runs on a Tuesday. So Tuesday morning is all about packing and sorting. And then in the afternoon, it's about giving out food to the 30 families who are using the food pantry. It's a lovely organisation, very, very friendly and very, very welcoming. So that is an opportunity there. Sorry, I'll just move this on a little bit. Each advert gives you quite detailed information, so I won't read this out to you, but if you have a look at this, you'll see a little bit more about the food pantry, telling you who it's partnered with, how it works, so that you can get a feel for it. And every organisation in there will go into some detail about its role and its ethos. You can then, if you're interested and you'd like to become a volunteer, you can see there's a pink box there that says join. So you can click on that. You're not committed to anything at that point. It's for you then to say a little bit about yourself and to offer your services if you would like to, or you might have more questions. You're not committing yourself to anything by clicking on that box there. So that's just to take you through the process of using Spark a Change, because I know it's a little bit daunting when you first go onto a website, but this is very, very friendly. And you'll see at the bottom, there's a small speech mark, question marks and so on. There is always somebody on the Spark a Change platform who will help you. So if you aren't sure about using the platform, or if you've got some questions, you can click on that, and we've got a really lovely, friendly team who will guide you through it, tell you more about it, show you where the job description might be, and support you with that. So that's the process. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. There we go. Okay, so that's just to take you through one example. There are lots more opportunities in Taunton, and if you're interested, then please, as I say, do contact me.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Jill. I haven't got, if anybody's got any questions, if they want to pop them into the comments box on Facebook, and we can answer them, or even at a later date if they appear after we've finished. I was just going to ask, is there a lower age limit and an upper age limit for people that volunteer? Like if there's a teenager or something that wants to go out litter picking, can they do that, or do they need permission from their parents? How do you go about that?
Yeah, if it was a teenager who wanted to go out litter picking, it would be through an organised project. And yes, they would have to get permission from their parents. And when the organisation, for example, Halcombe One or North Taunton One, advertise that, they'll explain exactly what a young person needs to do if they want to participate.
Okay, and another question that's just popped up. Do volunteers have to pass any checks in order to become a volunteer?
It very much depends on the role. So if you're going to be working with vulnerable adults or you're going to be working with children, you may need a DBS check, which is a safeguarding check. Typically, if you're going to be in a group and not on your own with a child or a vulnerable adult, then you'll have a very basic check, and they're usually back within 2 weeks. But the organisation or the group that you join will organise that check for you. You won't be expected to do it on your own. They will guide you through that, and they will pay for the check for you too.
Brilliant. Just looking to see if there's any other questions. There aren't at the moment. Have you noticed a real increase in the amount of volunteers that have come on board since the pandemic? Has it been noticeably different, or is it something that sort of stayed on a par?
I think looking at the number of neighbourhood groups through Facebook and through various websites, been an awful lot of people who've stepped up to help. So people have been out to collect prescriptions, they've been out doing shopping for people, gardening, and there's been a huge amount of that. The challenge now is that as people are going back to work, there's a less available pool of volunteers. I think, would that be fair to say, Jenny?
Yeah, definitely. I was just echo what Jill said. I think, like you say, sort of throughout the pandemic, we've had so many people come forward who've really wanted to help within their community. And I guess for us now as an organisation, it's about helping to provide opportunities and sort of continued support for those people who want to continue to volunteer kind of post-pandemic, and also supporting those groups who, may have lost volunteers sort of as a result of COVID because they've decided actually that, then they sort of have served their time, as it were, and are looking for a different opportunity. So yeah, we've definitely seen a real influx in people who have been keen to volunteer, but actually with that we recognise that some people have kind of decided now is the end of their volunteering journey and they want to kind of move on to something different, and it's about trying to support some of those people who are new volunteers into some of those roles that we know are sort of available.
Yeah. And also another question, and something that we as village agents do on a daily basis, we get requests for sort of gardeners, handymen. Would there be an opportunity for us to sort of request a volunteer if it was just a one-off, or somebody wanted it on a regular basis, perhaps an elderly person?
Yes, definitely. Sorry, Jenny.
No, go on. We're both too enthusiastic at the same time. No, yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what Spark a Change is for. It's partly, on the one hand, it's to encourage people to sign up and volunteer, but on the other side of it is around providing an opportunity to advertise those volunteering opportunities that are available. So definitely, if someone's looking for a volunteer as an organisation, then we would be very happy to have a chat to them about whether Spark Change is a sort of suitable platform for them.
Okay. Is there any sort of, it's terrible feedback, sorry. Is there any sort of search option for us as village agents if we were looking for a gardener? Say I had a case come in today, a referral, and somebody said, I need a gardener. Is there any way I could search, or would I need to put a case on with you?
Yeah, no, you can search, as far as I understand, you can search through the website. So when you add an opportunity, you can tag, kind of various different words as to what that opportunity kind of entails. And then when you go on to search, you can then search for kind of the keywords that you're looking for, and it will match up with anyone that's added those on there. So it should be fairly easy if you know the sort of opportunity you might be looking for, fairly easy for you to log on and search for that opportunity or search for where there may be chances to volunteer.
Brilliant. Thank you.
I think it's also worth mentioning that the opportunities that come up on Spark a Change also are put across the social media platforms, across Facebook. So they're quite relevant. I've noticed in the neighbourhood that I live in, new opportunities coming up typically on a Thursday each pinged out across there so that they get really wide coverage and appeal to as wide an audience as possible. And we've also tried to include people who aren't necessarily digitally connected. So an interview on Apple FM recently, people who listen to the radio but don't necessarily use their laptops or computers can then join in and become a volunteer as well, because part of our brief is to widen the pool. So we've been particularly interested in getting young people involved, and we've got a primary school representative who comes to the forum who is working on developing partnerships with children through the Civic Award and more widely. And we've got a partnership between My Day Care Services, and they work with adults who've got additional needs. And they've partnered up with Rhobarton Food Pantry. So there's going to be a volunteer from My Day who will go in there. And also with North Taunton Development Group. So we're looking at developing the park initiatives. And then we've been able to use that practice to develop connections a little bit further afield. So My Day are now also working with links in Bridgewater and playing to their clients' strengths as well. So it's really lovely to see the sort of ripple effect as things start to take off.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I went to one of your forums, the last one that you did, and like you say, there was about 30 of us there, and we went into sort of separate rooms, and you were able to almost sort of just interact with people and find out what they did. And I think there was lots of contacts made at that meeting, if I'm right, Jill, and people who didn't know other people existed, and it's like really nice to talk to everybody and find out what they did.
It's fantastic. And if you find somebody who's got a sort of common theme to you, or who's got a skill set that you can use, then it's lovely that they can partner up. And I've had quite a few emails saying, I've partnered up with a particular group and that group. So RAF, for example, have joined up with Hartfield Primary School, and they're hoping to do some volunteering together. Obviously, they'll have to wait until things open up a little bit more and people can meet indoors, so everybody's observing COVID restrictions. But those sorts of opportunities are coming up as well, which is really heartening to see, and trying to get everybody involved.
That's great. I don't think I've got any more questions. Like we said, I've got both your details. I can pop them into the Facebook link as well, if you're happy for your mobile numbers and your email addresses to be added should anybody want to get in contact with you directly.
Absolutely.
I'm just checking if we've got any more comments. No, that seems to be it. So if there isn't anything else, ladies, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Sorry about a bit of feedback, technology and everything. Can't be helped, but it's a great job you're doing, and fantastic that we can get all these people linked up together and helping each other, because that's what it's about at the end of the day.
Definitely, yeah.
Thanks so much for having us here, Mickey. It's been a real pleasure to be here today, and we'd love to hear from anybody who'd like to come and help in any way.
Yeah, absolutely. Just echo what Jill said. Yeah, thank you for having us, and please do get in contact with either myself or Jill if you think that anything we've kind of suggested today may be useful to you, or you're not quite sure how we can help. Yeah, please get in touch and we can have a chat.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.